Hi, and welcome to today's demonstration of the Correct English writing system. I'm going to start today's demonstration by giving you a general introduction to the platform, and then we'll log on and take a deeper dive. Correct English is the industry standard solution for independent, instant, and accurate writing feedback. Correct English goes beyond the simple checking of spelling and grammar. Whether the assignment is analytical, critical, or informative, all feedback is instant and actionable, which is going to allow users to focus on their comprehension instead of the easily preventable mistakes of grammar. The application gives users authoritative guidance for mechanics, organization, focus, content, word choice, and style. Correct English is designed to provide your student writers with guided feedback relevant to the exact type of writing they're working on at any given time. Powerful research and revision tools are built into the application, which provide instant access to the helpful resources. We'll talk about this more when we get into the Correct English demonstration. Correct English is completely cloud-based. There's no need for flash drives, no fear of misplacing files, and no management of license registration needed. All work is securely backed up online and accessible on any compatible computer. When revisions are completed, the writing can be downloaded, printed, or emailed directly from within the Correct English application. For your ELL students, Correct English displays menu items and revision tools in Spanish, French, German, Japanese, Korean, and Chinese. Correct English remains accessible to non-native English writers without sacrificing functionality, in effect leveling the playing field for your ELL students. Correct English uses the Internet to deliver features that are powerful, yet convenient to use. The interface is simple with virtually no learning curve. It offers support for blog posting, revision histories, document sharing, collaboration. As with the developers of the program, new features are added regularly and are going to appear automatically when you log on. There's no download or reinstallations needed for you to get the latest version of Correct English. So with that good general introduction, let's go ahead and log in, and I'll start discussing the Correct English by first introducing you to the user interface. As I'd mentioned earlier, it's quite a simple user interface for your students to use. Again, I mentioned that there's virtually no learning curve whatsoever. First thing you'll notice is that it's formatted to break it down into 4 different tabs: grammar, writing help, reference, and review. The iconography is very standardized, so you're going to see the same thing here that you would see in a lot of different word processing functionalities. Remember that you have the ability to email from within, you can publish to a hard drive, or if you need to, a flash drive. You can publish on the internet, publish it as a PDF, insert hyperlinks, etc., etc., etc. It has the standard save feature options, ability to adjust font and size. All the basics that you'd find in a standard word processor. Students can begin typing immediately from within the system, or they can open up existing work, or they can copy and paste Word from another type of word processor. In the example we're going to use today, I'm going to go ahead and open up a document that I have published here, and as soon as I open the document, you know that notice that the system automatically starts a spelling and grammar check. This sidebar will populate, and the learning opportunities or areas of concern for the student will populate here. The first thing that I would point out is that we have, first of all, it's broken down into a basic check, grammar and usage, and style choice, but note that we have 21 different learning opportunities for the student to use. Is the spelling and grammar check engine perfect? It's not, and there never will be a perfect spelling and grammar engine. But I would tell you that this system provides a much more robust engine for spelling and grammar than other word processors. Where we have 21 learning opportunities for the student here, you'd perhaps see 10 or 15 at best in most other word processors. So very, very helpful and very, very supportful to the students. Let's just take an example of, for example, the use of contractions. One of the nice things about this system is that it's designed to instruct the students as they work, as opposed to just saying, okay, I'm going to go ahead and change this. The student can read why they need to do it and then make an educated decision on what they should do. Do they still need the support of an instructor or a peer tutor? Absolutely. But one of the things I would tell you that I hear on a regular basis when I'm speaking to directors of writing centers, chairs of English departments, peer tutors, is that in a 45-minute session that a peer tutor typically has with a student, they're spending a great amount of time working on spelling and grammar, mechanics, syntax errors, rather than being able to spend that full 45-minute session on the student's critical and analytical writing skills. If the student can come into the writing center better prepared to discuss those items, their paper is going to be that much better. So again, this is going to help instruct the student rather than just simply showing them how to correct it. Consider replacing the contraction don't with because it's not typically used in a formal document, with do not. So again, it's going to advise the student and then allow them to correct it. So that's an example of the spelling and grammar check that's built within the system. Let's go ahead to the next tab, which is writing help. Before we go to that, though, let me mention one other thing in the grammar and spelling check. Again, if you'll recall in the introduction, I mentioned that ELL students can take advantage of this in that they can convert the spelling and grammar and all the headers into their native language, any of those 7 different languages I mentioned, to level the playing field. So the student, the ESL student, has the ability to learn in their native language and then apply that rule to the English written word. Real big advantage of using this system. Again, let's jump into the writing help section. The first thing you'll notice in the sidebar is that it gives an overall and by domain measurement of the student's performance at this particular save point in the essay that they're working on. You'll notice also down at the bottom it does the same thing, only providing an overall score. You also notice that we have a word count, a number of sentences, words per sentence, even a Kincaid level for the student to use as reference materials. Let's close this window, and I am writing. As I mentioned earlier, this is going to help students in pretty much any topic you can think of. So whether the student is writing a business plan or an apology letter, a general memo, an abstract for the social sciences, working on their citation, or doing their first informative, narrative, or persuasive essay, all the reference materials for the student to do this are built directly within the system. So it's absolutely phenomenal. You'll also note, let's go ahead and select narrative writing. So let's say the student's writing a narrative. It's broken down into style, content, and focus, and organization, and it has subheaders under each one of those. And you'll notice that the way it's written is a simple and easy to understand way, so that your students that are actually writing challenge can easily understand what to do. And if they need to see a model to get further understanding, they can click on See a Model, and it will bring up a writing model for them that they can use. And the nice thing about this is it has rollovers. So as they roll over, it explains that particular point in the writing response and gives them instruction on how they should proceed. So it's very helpful and gives, again, a visual resource for the student with valid examples and explanations of those examples. So very powerful learning tool there. So that's an example of the writing help. Let's jump into the reference section quickly here. And I have 2 icons here. I have Lexipedia and iSeek. The Lexipedia section provides vocabulary assistance, a word power source, if you will. Let's take a quick jump into that. Now, they can copy and paste the word in, or they can type it in. I'm going to go ahead and use the word abstract and do a search on it. And you'll see a drop-down which gives different versions of the word abstract. But if I click on them, it's going to take me to our Lexipedia website that we've developed. And it's going to give the student the option to select from a great many number of words. So in other words, they can make their writing more powerful using this resource. My internet's running a little bit slow today, but this will load up here in just a minute. And it'll give a breakdown of the word abstract, and you'll notice it brings in all these little spiders and pulls this in. The nice thing about this is that the student can filter it. So if he's only looking for the noun form of the word abstract, he can close those out. And if he doesn't want fuzziness or similar words, he only wants to look at synonyms, he can filter it even further, or she can filter it even further. The other nice thing about this is that they roll over the word. It's not only going to provide them a definition, but it's going to give them an example of usage, and for the ESL students, it's going to actually say it for them. So a really, really nice feature provided with the system. Let's jump out of the Lexipedia. I'm going to close that window, and I'm going to jump into the iSeek. Now before I type, I'll go ahead and type it in. Harry Truman, we're going to do a keyword search on him. iSeek is developed by another division of our company and is used in a couple of our different platforms. Basically what iSeek is a targeted, authoritative search engine. So whereas if a student were to do a search with, say, Bing or a Google search, if they typed in Harry Truman, they'd pull in 168 million hits in 0.32 seconds. You know how that works. With this, it's going to send the spiders out in a similar fashion, but as the spiders are coming back into the system, into the engine, it's going to filter them to targeted authoritative resources, an example being Library of Congress. So when we go through the iSeek, it's going to pull a drop-down. There's also an iSeek web page that the students can use, by the way, and it's going to pull up resources that are targeted and authoritative for the student. So it's a very, very powerful resource. While that's loading, I would emphasize the importance of the fact that these reference tools are built into the application. So the student does not have to leave the application to do the research they're doing on a particular paper that they're working on. So very, very powerful resource. The last tab that I'm going to present to you today is called the Review tab. And what this is going to give us the ability to do is to communicate via the cloud between the student and, say, an instructor or a peer tutor. So if a student's having a difficult time, say, with their thesis or the opening statements made in their writing, they can actually highlight it and then comment on it. They can leave either a recorded comment using the record button or a typed comment. I can't type. I need help with my thesis. And then they can select that and comment. Now they're going to need to be able to share it, but I would note for you that once they make the comment, you'll notice that it's color-coded, and as I click on it, it highlights the particular comment. So if a student has multiple comments within a writing, they simply need to click on the area and it will highlight the comment reference for them. In order to share this with someone, I go over here and I click on Share. Quite simply type in the email address of the person that I want to share it with. We'll just share it with myself on my Gmail account and add it. I have the ability to add up to 4 folks that I can email with, and we have the option for them to either read, which would be read only, that's all they could do, comment, which is going to give the reviewer the ability to actually make a comment and send it back to the student, or write, where they can actually contribute to the text. So you've got students that are working on a group project together. They don't have to be in the same room to do it. I would also comment to you that the advantage of this system is not just for the student, but for the instructors and the peer tutors. Let's take, for example, a distance learning course. Students don't have the ability to get into the Writing Center most of the time in a distance learning course. With this system, they do. So they can actually communicate via the cloud and get the valuable feedback they need from the peer tutors who are there to support them. So it's an absolutely wonderful conduit for a peer tutor to communicate with a student or an instructor to communicate with a student. So that gives you a strong general overview of Correct English, and that's going to conclude our demonstration for today. I want to thank you very much for your time and tell you that we at McCann Associates look forward to the opportunity of partnering with you very soon. Thanks so much and have a wonderful day.